Anyway, welcome back, West Coast. We're off on a tangent. I have in studio Layla Zoe. Good afternoon.
Nice to be here.
It is awesome to have you in here, almost completely by accident, connected through the world of social media.
Yes,
or what have you.
absolutely. And I can't believe I'm looking out at the most beautiful view of the mountains, the trees, and the water right here at the station. This is a very cool station, I must say.
It's
not the norm for me.
Well, we have to compensate for me not being very cool by having a good location.
Listen to this.
Location. But you are a one-time island gal.
Yeah, I'm born in Victoria, BC, grew up mostly on Vancouver Island, lived in Arrington, Bowser, Qualicum Parks all over, even on Gabriola for a bit. Love Tofino and used to come camping up here every summer with my dad, so I've got special memories up here, and it's a special place. So anyways, anytime I'm on the island, I try to get up here, whether it's, for music or not, so...
Yeah. So you're just out, kind of took a day trip, had to see the beach on
Yeah,
your vacation?
yeah. A friend of mine brought me up here because I've tried to get up here every time I'm on the island. My mom lives in Qualicum, so I've been staying there, but...
All right. And so you're not on the island, you're in Montreal.
I live in Montreal now. I was living on the island for years, but I moved to Toronto about almost 4 years ago. Stayed there for 2 years, and now I'm in Montreal. So I've been out on the East Coast about 4 years, and I moved there definitely for my career, and there was more happening in the city of Toronto for music than there was in Vancouver, on Vancouver Island, that's for sure. And I'd sort of done the cover band thing for 3.5 years, and it was time to take my name and the CDs I'd made and kind of go to a bigger city and see what happens. So,
all right, can we dwell on the cover band thing for just a minute?
Yes, let's dwell on it.
You've been compared in a lot of the media on the line to Janis Joplin a lot.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I get asked this a lot, and it's a good question. Of course, she was an influence. I used to listen to my old record player, and I'm still listening to my record player, but as a kid, I did listen to her a lot. And she influenced me at an early age. But I think it's more because I've heard other singers that cover her stuff, and I actually rarely cover her songs because every single show I actually have someone come up to me and say I sound like her, or older people telling me stories of when they saw her live, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's the way that I look, which is for some people because of the long hair and the face and the power on stage. I think it's... Some people say I sound exactly like her. To me, that's not the case. I think it's the raw intensity on stage, like the emotions that I put out in my live performance, that if people see me live, they really feel that, that comparison.
Well, you can speak now, which is a change from Janis Joplin, I think.
People have come up and said to me that I'm sort of like Janis with less booze and drugs and better skin or something. I've had older people that saw her live say that. But, it's a huge compliment. But, of course, I try to stay away from performing her stuff because I'm trying to do my own thing, obviously.
Yeah, avoid the pigeonhole.
And I think over the years, the fans that have been coming out for years have noticed a change in my voice, too. When you are first starting, you are imitating other singers when you're first beginning, but then you kind of hopefully are growing into your own. And over years of time now, it's really the Layla Zoe thing. It's not the Janis cover band anymore. So,
all right. Well, what's the difference? What is the Layla Zoe thing?
I think because I've played around with all different kinds of styles of music too, and not that she didn't, she did, but it's a blues bass band that I'm performing in mostly in Montreal and in Toronto, and my show is blues, but I'm also playing with the jazz a little sometimes, and blues rock and roots and gospel, and I think she did all of that, but definitely my voice has sometimes I do more soft stuff now. I used to be kind of just using the big powerful and then kind of one of the producers I was working with had sort of said, let's try being a little more risque and using parts of your voice that you don't always use, and it pays off when you start to realize you can actually bring people to an orgasm musically or emotionally by actually doing some gentle stuff and then kind of bringing them then to climax with the big powerful voice later. You don't have to always pull out the big voice,
For me at karaoke, it's always whole lot of love. I know people just love it when you scream, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean when you can.
And some people don't love it when you scream, so it kind of turns me on when I do a show and I know that someone out there isn't particularly liking it or getting it and is thinking right away or judging me based on the Janis comparison. But then by the end of the show, they're coming up and they loved it because I do show them a variation. Yeah. And as a vocalist, I want to show range. That's extremely important. So,
all right. In the middle, if you're following along at home and you happen to be sitting by your computer, layla.ca is the website. There's links to other media and stuff on there. But while you're out here on holidays,
yes,
sort of,
yes,
but you're staying busy.
Yeah, on my vacation this week, I decided I wanted to speak with some of the local schools. And so I've done Blues in the Schools program before. This isn't exactly that because that's semi-funded by the Canadian government, depending on what province you're in. But I was in St. John's, Newfoundland, and did 5 high schools there, and it was really gratifying. So it feels good, and it also gets the blues music out to the kids, some of the younger kids that maybe have not heard it.
Yep.
And also to talk to them a bit about whatever their dreams are, to follow it at any cost and believe in themselves to pursue what they dream of, because that's what I've done. And I mean, we've all had our ups and downs in life, but definitely I've made some major choices in my life to follow music and continued to believe in myself, as you know, with the ups and downs of it. And absolutely have seen now a big growth and change, and finally signed to a record label after 6 years of making my own records independently, and with a label that actually cares about me. It's a European label in Germany, and made, what, in my opinion, my best record yet, with people that I really respect as musicians. And so that album's coming out at the end of the year, and I'm touring it in Europe. But, it's taken a long time working and believing in myself, just doing my own thing to meet the right people, and not to sort of compromise and give up and go with, a label that might have really wanted to turn me in a certain direction and not listen to what I wanted as an artist. So, it's just
pursue your dream.
Yeah, and so with the kids, whether they want to be, in sales or they want to be in music, I mean, kind of believing in yourself and following certain rules of, treating others with respect, and so that's the path I've chosen, anyways. Try to be the best person I can in the business that can sometimes be quite ugly, Yeah.
So in addition to the feel good, follow your dream stuff, is it kind of like a music history?
Yes,
thing,
because like the last class I just did with the kids at a school called Morning Glory, which is a little bit more of an alternate school too. So it was cool because I had kids ages 10 to 18 there, and I played them different styles of blues, from Robert Johnson to Muddy Waters to B.B. King, and I played them, Coco Taylor, Etta James, sometimes not the full song because I'm trying to get a lot into an hour and a half, but played them different styles of blues, talked to them about the definition of the blues, what the blues means to me, and then kind of went into playing some of my stuff, like played them the old version of Hoochie Coochie Man, Muddy Waters, and then played them the newer version I had done with a slightly different drum track on it, so that they could see how the blues is all different styles. Because I think sometimes people similar, because I'm a big Zappa fan, and I always bring up Zappa, people say they don't like Zappa or Frank Zappa's music, and I say, well, there's so many records, and he did so many different styles of music. There's got to be something that you like, but people just hear one thing and they just kind of write it off or say that's everything, and I'm not going to like it.
The difference between Catholic girls and watermelon and Easter Day
exactly,
or
exactly. And the blues is the same way. Some kids, I think, if they hear something they just don't like I played them a bunch of stuff, and I kept asking them what if they liked that and if they didn't. And one of the only artists that they didn't like as much was Billie Holiday, and I think it's a certain taste. They didn't quite get that or grasp what was going on with the moodiness of that music. But when I played them Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters, like, all the kids liked that voice, and they liked the feel of the songs that I had chosen anyway, and they liked the Robert Johnson too, old, scratchy sounding, like it's and
I
talked
tough to get
to them
beyond the audio quality.
Yeah, and I talked to them
Johnson's
about
stuff.
that kind of the audio quality, and because I still like vinyl, and I mostly listen to vinyl, and I'm spending any money I have on records lately again. But just the vibe of the time and of the music and the kind of magic in it, something you don't hear in the music that you hear today on Much Music and the videos that they're watching, and the kids were getting it. So depending on the school, I mean, when I did St. John's, Newfoundland, there was a few schools that were it was an English class that I was talking to, so the attention span was only there with a few of them, maybe half of them. But when I'm speaking to the actual music students, that was like great, because the kids came up and asked really interesting questions afterwards, and they had it together, Cool. So I'm happy to do it. I think it's kind of spreading the gospel, keeping the blues alive, and also just for me, it's something different than being on stage, which I'm doing all the time, and it gives back to me in a way too. So
I found it interesting. You said your record label's in Germany. Germany seems to be, and I guess was, for the Beatles, I guess we could say that too. But it seems to every once in a while spend a decade being a real great music loving nation, and there's a lot of people that I know. Victoria artist Paul O'Brien, same sort of thing. Can't really catch a gig out here, but tours Europe 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes you work really hard, and it's more difficult in your own backyard to kind of get what you need. But then you go to Europe, and it's not necessarily even that you're exotic there, although there is an element of my success to being exotic, being Canadian, and having a bit of an edge too, because they're not necessarily looking for always just the most marketable, kind of friendly music that plays in coffee shops. You know, you can go out and do something more psychedelic and be more raw with your emotions and intentions on stage. And I think the crowd is looking for that. And really, just I find that more people are going out to live shows there, and less of them are sitting at home in front of their televisions. It's like there's an active scene of fans and of musicians in Germany. And a lot of American artists that I know have moved out there because they can make a better living. But it's not for me just about that. It's about, like I said, the crowd response, being able to really let go and not think about, you know, what's happening on stage all the time. And the fans will follow you there, you know, to wherever. Because I always say my show lately, when I'm asked, is like having your heart ripped out and put back in, because I'm emotionally bringing so much of my past and my pain in my shows to the crowd. And of course, I do dance stuff too, that people feel they can have fun too, and, you know, drink beer and listen to some blues and dance. But most of the stuff that I do and that people resonate with is the more, you know, the true blues inside of me coming through the material and through my voice, you know. So, but yes, there's a huge blues scene in Germany overall. It's not just the music scene, but the blues scene is quite good there. And so I was very lucky. I was brought out for one major festival, and after that, there was enough buzz from that festival that and I met enough musicians to kind of put a band together out there that I ended up with an agent quite quickly, and I've actually had some success out there already now. So it's cool. Yeah, you know, I like to travel, and I like to see new places and other cultures. I'd like to see more of Europe, and so I'm working on that. And this upcoming tour is Belgium, Switzerland, Sweden, Luxembourg, Germany. And then I'll be back out there in June for the Czech Republic, which is totally random. Like I would never be buying a ticket to go to the Czech Republic otherwise. So it's very cool that there's some blues fans there that are interested in me. And then I'll tour my newest record that was made in Germany at the end of the year in November. So,
well, if you ever need a third-rate bass player for a tour,
people are always like, "Can I be your vegan chef / massage artist / photographer on the road?" Yeah.
Why not, eh?
Yeah.
It's always worth giving
it's always worth
the
a
entourage,
try. That's right, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that you can come down here. That's a lot of fun, and it would be great if we could put together a show for you down the road.
I would like to do that down the road, because I always love to come up this direction. And of course, I've sat in at the Legion, you know, a long time ago, you know, when I was up here, but I've never had my band up here. So, and I have a band in BC that I use for BC gigs. Yeah. So it's possible to make it work at some point. Yeah.
All right. Well, Layla.ca is the website.
Yeah, and I'm on Facebook, the fan page. It's a place that I interact a lot, actually, with the fans. So if anybody has any questions, they can always come and find me there. And YouTube is really the best resource, because you'll find, you know, a whole bunch of videos of me performing all over the world in different areas, and get to hear different music on the YouTube. So
the mix there. Speaking of the mix, you only had one hard copy of one of your albums
that I brought with
down,
you. Yeah,
but there's a lot more. What would you like to hear before we take off here? From
Desert Song is cool. It's not strictly bluesy, but it's kind of nice to drive to, and a lot of people are probably out there driving today and getting a little bit of sunshine.
Sweet.
And you can find my albums on CD Baby, and also I'm on MySpace, and there's some free songs you can listen to there, and you can find some of the YouTube videos there too. So.
All right. Well, I understand you've got friends on the way. You're going to go check out the sunset, and then you're driving back across island.
You got it. We came up for the day, and it's been well worth it. It's beautiful. I hit Uculet, and I'll get out to Chesterman's probably and take a look at the beach again. And
sweet.
Yeah.
Well, have a nice afternoon. Thanks for dropping in. Is it better to call you Layla or Zoe?
Layla Zoe, because it's actually Layla Zoe, and people always say Layla Zoe or Zoe or whatever, and it's like, but it doesn't bother me.
Mark Kissinger said that everybody calls you Zoe.
Yeah, no. Well, maybe some people do.
Maybe he's
actually,
trying to get me in trouble.
Maybe
then.
Some people do. Actually, I really just don't call me late for supper.
All right, well,
it's all good.
Thanks for coming in, and thanks for ending on an old joke.
Thanks for having me here. It's great. It's a gorgeous day.
This is Layla Zoe with Desert Song on Long Beach Radio.